All right, we're going to work on worksheet 12 and lesson 2.5, but we're going to talk about the rational equations part instead of the graphs. We're going to do this out of order a little bit. Rational equations are equations involving fractions, and particularly ones with variables in the denominator. We're going to multiply through by the least common denominator to get rid of all the denominators. That's the plan. So the notes worksheet, the first example has x over 1 minus 8 divided by x minus 4 equals 11, which would just be 11 over 1. Where's my cursor? There we go. So the only denominator besides 1 is x minus 4. So if we multiply an x minus 4, I don't know what's going on here. I don't have a cursor. We multiply an x minus 4 by the x, the 8, really, why do you have to be difficult? The 8 over x minus 4 and the 11. So we're going to multiply each of the terms by an x minus 4. Then what happens? Okay, so when we do that out front here, what do we get? X squared minus 4x. Then here the x minus 4's cancel, so we just have minus 8. And on the right hand side we have 11x minus 44. If we move that all to the left, what will we have? All right, I'm having trouble getting this to scroll down here for me. Hang on one second. Yeah, they were on your desk?
Yeah, I never.
Was there no stack on your desk?
Oh, wait. Hold on. Maybe.
It should have been a brand new stack today.
Oh. That one.
No, you're fine. All right, what did we get when we moved it all over? I don't know what's, I can't seem to scroll down, so I'm just going to write over here. Plus 36? Is that right? 44 and negative 8 would be 36. Did I finally do that right? All right. So how is that going to factor? Be careful, there's a lot of factors to 36. Minus 12 and minus 3, does that work to get 15? So we get x equals 12 or 3. You really should check these again. There can be things that don't work. The usual reason that something wouldn't work would be because if it made the denominator 0, then you'd have to say, well, could it be included? I usually check them just because it's always a good plan. So mystery cursor here. Okay, 12 minus 8 over, if I was plugging in a 12, I'd get 12 minus 4 is 8. Does that seem okay? 12 minus 8 divided by 8, which would be 1. 12 minus 1 is 11. So I'm thinking, oh, really? Oh. This one checks. Okay, then if we put in the 3, we'd have 3 minus 8 over negative 1 equals 11. Well, 8 over negative 1 would be minus 8 over negative 1 would be plus, so it would be 8 plus 3 is 11. Okay, that was painful. Let's not. You know what? I just want to show you the first step in these. If you have one like this on your homework, couldn't you just like cross multiply? That's what I would do on those kind. All right. This one on your homework, or on your notes though, I just want to talk about when you have a 3, an x minus 2, and a 6 all in the denominator, you can just use 6 and x minus 2 for the common denominator, right? Because 6 is a factor, or 3 is a factor of 6. And then what they did is they multiplied it by each piece. So on the left-hand side, the x minus 2's canceled, and 3 went into 6, and that's where they got this 2. Everybody see that? And over here, when they multiplied this by this one, the 6's canceled, so they wound up with an x minus 2 and a 5x. And then when they did both of these by this, the x minus 2's canceled, and they wound up with this 6 times 1 back here. All right, so then they FOILed everything out, got it all together, went over here, and when they got to the end and solved it, the first thing they noticed was that there was a x minus 2 in the original denominator, so we had to throw this one out because it would have made the denominator 0. Okay, so watch for that. All right, easy one. What do you want to do first? Actually, there's a couple things we could do first. You want to multiply through by the common denominator, or you want to move this something? It doesn't matter. Move the 8 first. That's what I did too. So if I subtract 8 from both sides, I get a 2, but then I multiplied through by an m, because that's the only denominator, right, other than 1. So when I multiplied everything by an m, I wound up with 15 minus m squared equals 2m. I actually moved things to the right because I don't like a negative squared term. Anybody get that? M squared plus 2m minus 15? All right, if I factor 15, that will differ by positive 2. What do I get? Plus 5 minus 3. Then when I set each of those equal to 0, I get negative 5 and positive 3. I'm going to go over here and check it. If you don't want to write the check down, I totally understand that. But on a test or quiz, do the check, because you know right away if you did something wrong then. Okay, so help me out. 15 divided by negative 5 would be negative 3, plus 5 would be 2, plus 8 is 10, right? This would be 5 minus 3 is 2, plus 8 is 10. So they both check. Excellent. All right. What's common denominator here, guys? Yes. The common denominator would be a b and a b minus 3. I'm going to go ahead and write this out for the children at home. If you don't want to show all these steps, I totally understand. Whoops, that's supposed to be times. Okay, so the first one, the b minus 3's will cancel, and we'll just have 4b plus what? 3 times a b minus 3, or 3b minus 9. Yep, you can distribute at the same time, I don't care. And over here, what do we get on the right-hand side, though? Good job, negative 2b squared. I'm going to add that over, put my 0 on the right-hand side. So I have a positive 2b squared plus, doing a little work in my head here, is that 7b minus 9? Did someone else get that? All right. So to factor and get 2b squared, we need a 2b and a b. I think we need a 9 and a 1 to make a 7. Positive 9 minus 2b times, does that work, guys? Did I get that right? So b is either what? Or 1, yep. Neither one of which make the denominator 0. It's kind of painful to plug this back in and check it, but if you use some parentheses, you could type this in as a negative 4.5. So you'd have 4 divided by negative 4.5 minus 3 plus 3 divided by negative 4.5. and you'd get an answer, and then on the other side you could type -2 times -4.5 divided by -4.5 minus 3. You do get the same thing, I promise. I checked it. 1 is a little bit easier to check. What happens if we check 1, guys? We get 4 over 1 minus 3. Anybody? 3 over 1 would just be 3. -2 times 1 on the top, and 1 minus 3 is -2. So we get -2 plus 3 equals 1. Does that one seem like that one checks easily? Okay. This one does check. I did it on my calculator because I wanted to make sure it worked. But. All right, you take my word for it. This is a tricky kind, and I made sure there was one of these on the notes because there's a couple on the homework. This is not pretty to me. Y minus 2. Because this side factors y minus 2, y plus 2, right? What do you want to do? Okay. This is the same as a -y plus 2, right? How could I make it say y minus 2? Okay. If I took a negative out, so I made this -1 times y minus 2. That's equivalent. Everybody okay with that? Now, what could I do with that -1? Does it matter if it's on the bottom or the top? So if I move that -1 up here, then this could actually become plus +1. That was a bunch of finagling. But I got 2 over y plus 2 plus y over y minus 2 equals y squared plus 4 over y squared minus 4. All right, so all I did, which I probably should have written this in factored form. All I did was basically multiply top and bottom by a -1. Does that help you think of it that way? So that this became plus +y, and this became a +y and a -2. Just so that the common denominator works out better. All right, what are we going to multiply through by? Can I just write it once this time? A y minus 2 and a y plus 2. The whole thing. So when I multiply over here, the y plus 2's will cancel and I'll end up with, anybody? Yep, 2 times y minus 2 plus this one, the y minus 2's will cancel, so we'll end up with a y times a y plus 2. What happens on the right-hand side? Yeah, just a y squared plus 4. Good job. Everything cancels from the denominator with what we're multiplying through by. All right, you guys do some algebra. I'll do some algebra. We'll see if we come up with the same thing. Oh, I think we get to get rid of our y squared. Is that right? I got y equals 2 as well. Is that our answer? If we put a 2 back in our original question here, 2 minus 2 will be 0. Y cannot equal plus or minus 2, right, in our domain? So what are we going to write for this? No solution. Yep. There is no solution that will make this true. I know. There might be one in the homework that's no solution. Not more than that, I don't think. But sometimes, you know, if we had wound up at the end with 2 or 6, the 6 might work and the 2 might not. So we might end up with one solution, but that one was no solution. All right, number 4. This isn't too bad. What are we going to multiply through by? Okay, so 60 over x times an x and an x plus 3. I'm writing it all out again this time. 60 over x plus 3 times an x and an x plus 3 equals 1 times an x and an x plus 3. All right, so what is that, 180? Right? Okay, this, be careful. This is a minus. Luckily, we don't have to distribute it through anything, but it is a minus 60x. Oh my goodness. Did someone else get x squared plus 3x minus 180? Okay, there's a lot of factors to 180. 18 and 10, 15, 15 and 12? Anybody checking that one? Is it 15 and 12? Thank you. So our solutions are negative 15 or 12. Well, the good news is they both go nicely into 60, right? If I check 60 over negative 15 minus 60 over, when I add 3 I get negative 12. That would be negative 4 plus 5 equals 1. That works, right? If I do 12, this would be 5 minus 4 equals 1. Well, I think we're good to go. All right. Common denominator this time. Yeah, it's going to have a 4 and an x plus 3, right? Can I cheat and not write it all out this time? 4x and x plus 3. Okay, so when I do that times this one, the only thing that's going to go away is the x. So, oh my goodness. I'll have a 4 and an x plus 3 times an x plus 3. Is that right, guys? Okay. Yeah. X plus 3's cancel the next time, so I have a 7x times a 4x. Did I do that one right? All right, and over here all the cancels is the 4, so I have a 23 and an x plus 3. All right. I wish we could divide everything by 4 or something, but we can't. If we FOIL those together, we get x squared plus what? Plus 6x plus 9. There we go. And we still got to distribute that 4. You could have distributed it first, but I like to FOIL those first. 28x squared equals 23x squared plus 69x. Okay. Are we having fun yet? No. 4 times 9 is 36 on a good day. Anybody do the algebra for me? 32x squared minus 23x squared. Is that 9x squared? Thank you. Then what?
Minus 45x.
Oh, we're in luck. That all seems right to me, and those are all divisible by 9, right? Can we just do a giant divide by 9 here? X squared minus 5x plus 4 equals 0. X minus 1x plus 5, is that right? 4? I don't know. Help! Minus 4 minus 1? So I got 1 or 4. Anybody else get that? All right, for fun, I'll plug them in. If I put a 1 in, I get 4 over 1 plus 7 over 4 equals 23 over 4. Somebody type that and make sure you get the same decimal left side and right side. 4, 1 and 3/4 will be 5 and 3/4. That seems right to me. Okay, put in a 4 and we get 7 over 4 plus 28 over 7, which is the same thing as the first one, right? Because 28 over 7 is 4, so if the first one works, second one works, we're all good. It works, I promise. It's how you're going to do on the test too, right? You're just going to write, yeah, they work. All right, goofy one. I wish everybody was here for this one because this is a little bit tricky. I did put it on the test or quiz, I don't think though, but it says the surface area of a box that has a volume of 625 cubic inches. Now, normally, volume is length times width times height, right? But we don't want 3 different variables here, so we got to figure out what's going on. The box has a square base that is x by x. If I call this height for a minute, what's the volume of the box right now? X squared times h, right? And they told us the volume of the box should be 625. Okay, so could we get rid of the h? How would we rearrange this so it said h equals 625 divided by x squared? Does that seem okay? All right, now, if I erase that h, and over there I write 625 over x squared. Now we need surface area though, guys. What's the formula for surface area? Or what's the idea? Do you remember doing this? Ever? Is that what that thing is made up of? Is like 4 rectangles and 2 squares? You with me? Okay. So this square is x by x. Are we good? And there's another one over here that's x by x. So what's the area in there? X squared, and there's 2 of them. I'm going to write 2x squared. What is this area right in here? It's x times what? Divided by x squared. Okay. So if the area of that rectangle is 625 over x squared times x, what does that reduce to? 625 over x. And how many of those are there? 4? Everybody okay that there's 4 of those? I'm just going to write that for the moment. 4 times 625 over x. We can simplify it, but might help us remember where we got it. All right. Let's simplify now. What's 4 times 625? 2,500. Like that. Over x. It says write this as the quotient of 2 functions. So basically we need to get a common denominator and add those together. What would the common denominator be, guys? So if we multiply this by another x over x, it would now be 2x cubed over an x, right? Plus 2,500 over an x, or all of that over x. Think about that for a second and see if that makes sense. X would reduce into 2x cubed and get 2x squared, and 2,500 divided by x. Are we okay? I do hereby solemnly swear this is not on the quiz. Austin, where'd I lose you? Okay. We're not multiplying through by a common denominator because there's no equal sign. Okay, guys, we're just getting a common denominator so that we can add them together. Now, it says find the side length of the base when the surface area is this. Okay, we're just going to use our graphing calculator. We're going to type all of this divided by x, and we're going to see where it equals this. So in y1, I'm going to type parenthesis 2x cubed plus 2,500 parenthesis divided by x, and in y2 I'm going to type 512.5. What's an appropriate window going to be? How high does it have to go? It's got to go past 500, right? So maybe 0 to 1,000, I have no idea. And out this way, I don't know, I don't think we have to go terrible far. We could try 50 times 50 would be way too big to get a volume of that. I don't know, try 20 maybe. Make sure you don't have a stat plot on or anything like that. Your graph isn't showing up? Did you change your window? I might not have put down something appropriate. We can check here, but make sure it's not going to show up in a standard window. So for x's, I tried 0 to 20. Maybe that's not far enough out. I don't know. And for y, I did 0 to 1,000. Now you good? Are there two solutions, guys? Did I not put in my y2? Oh, I'm genius. Let's try typing in 512.5. All right, so two different possibilities. Actually, this one would be the height, I think, if we plugged it back in. So I got 12.5 for one of them. Did someone find the other one? .5 or 12.5. Somebody, 5.5, type 625 divided by 5.5 squared and see if you get 12.5. I'm thinking one is the height and one is. If you do 625 divided by 5.5 squared, oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm wrong. You could have a box that's 5.5 by 5.5 by 20.7. Is that what we got for the dimensions? Or you could have a box that's 12.5 by 12.5 by 625 divided by 12.5 squared by 4. Okay, so there's two different dimensions for the box to be. Did it offer us any clue which one they wanted? Find the side length of the base when the surface area is this. Well, either one of these would work. All right, I just thought that was an interesting question. Let's do the very last one. I really meant for us to do this after we had talked about graphing, but it's okay that we haven't done the graphing yet. When you go, it just wants you to use the intersection feature to solve this. Is this a question you have on yours? Yes? Okay. You have to put parentheses around the whole top and the whole bottom. And you're going to get a kind of very screwy graph, okay? But you want to know one thing, where it hits exactly 8. So let's try graphing this. And I don't really know what our window is going to be. We could try a standard window to begin with and see what happens. The line y equals 8 will definitely show up in our standard windows. So, might just barely work. Did you get 2 places in that standard window? Looks like there should be 2 solutions. Yes, I'm sorry, that was a little confusing. I didn't. So in y1, I typed x to the fourth minus 2x cubed plus 1, all divided by x cubed plus 6. And we'll talk tomorrow about things like top heavy and bottom heavy and leading coefficients and what the end behavior looks like. The bottom line is, if you zoomed out far enough, there's 1 degree of x more in the numerator, so you'd get this oblique line that it's approaching with an undefined place here. Oh, and we're going to have to factor some. Ew. Okay. Good thing we're doing this one by graphing. So can you find those 2 places that it intersects, guys? And I doubt that they're nice. I'm just guessing. One of them was nice? X equals negative 1.594, something like that. And I don't, if you round it, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape. I don't know that it said the directions in the book. You'll have to read when you get there. Okay, for guess, I need to move over here somewhere. Was this one nice or no? Okay. Oh, if it's not in the window, I don't know if it'll do it. Shoot. Does yours do it, though? Okay. Yep. You need to move your window. If it's not in the window, it won't work. So I'm going to move my X out just a little further. And then I should be able to find the intersection. All right. So if you'll pull out worksheet 7 real fast, we'll just talk for a second about a couple review things on there, and then I'll let you work. .046, is that the other one? I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't show up on the graph if it was an extraneous solution, so we're good. Okay, so the assignment tonight, guys, is to work on these, okay? I think these 6, 7 are rational equations, and these last 2 are solved by graphing, okay? All right, then I am going to switch over and talk real briefly about this review. Down at the middle, I do want you to do this worksheet real quick for the homework check, but it says describe the end behavior. I'm okay really if you just sketch. I know some of you actually did this, but what degree is this one? Degree 2 with a leading coefficient that is negative, so it's going to go down. Actually, it's probably just a parabola, right? But the bottom line is the end behavior is going down. Okay, this one is degree 3, leading coefficient is positive, so it should be left, down, right, up. I don't care if you don't want to write out what the end behavior is, as long as you have a little sketch there. Does that make sense? Okay. Then I'm going to skip down to this one. What is this asking you to do? Make a really rough sketch. It has a 0 where? Tell me where the zeros are, guys. Negative 5 halves, which is negative 2.5, right? 1 and 4. Okay, what's the degree, though? If I multiplied that all together, I'd have a 2x, an x, and an x, which would be a degree 3. And the leading coefficient would have been positive 2. So which way should I start when I'm doing my end behavior idea here? If I'm going to start on the far left, should I start from the bottom or the top? Bottom. And it's going to cross at all those places, right? No bouncies. Okay, so that's all you have to do for me, okay? Well, it says multiplicities and zeros, so there was no multiplicity, right? Next one, yeah. Do you want to do 5, 6, 7, or 8 together? Do 8? Okay. This one has how many zeros? It is degree 6, 7, degree 7. It has a 0 at 0 of multiplicity 4, yes? It has a 0 of at 5 of multiplicity 2, and a 0 where? -1. Okay, so that's where I'm getting 7, right? 4, multiplicity 4, multiplicity 2, multiplicity 1. Okay. What is the leading coefficient? Yeah, this -3 out here. So, degree 7 odd means it's going to generally be this or this. Which one are we looking for? No, it's negative, so it's got to start from the top. We're going to look at this shape. All right, so at 0, it has multiplicity of 4. At 5, it has multiplicity of 2, and it has a 0 at -1. Where does it bounce and where does it cross? This one is a bounce, and this one is a bounce because even multiplicity. Odd, because there's only one of them. Odd multiplicity of 1 would just make this one cross. All right. We said it starts from the top down. Okay, what's it do at -1 as it gets there? Cross. But then at 0 it bounces, and at 5 it bounces. Did we end up with the right end behavior, or is it going down forever in the end? Okay. That's what I really wanted you to do on there. I don't want you to be using your calculator. I just want you to know the basic ideas. All right, what's on the back of this guy? Anything tricky? Oh, some hidden behaviors. What's wrong with graph A? If this is what we typed in, what should we know is wrong with graph A? Yeah, this looks like an even degree, right? Because both ends are going down. And this was degree 5. So we're not seeing the right end behavior, right? Somewhere it's got to come back up one end or the other. I'm just going to write incorrect end behavior in this window. And what's wrong with B? B looks to me like they did a zoom fit. If you graphed this, why would you go, not the best window? Yeah, if you want to find the zeros, that's a mess, right? Can't find the zeros or can't see how many zeros or how many x-intercepts. Is it easier to think about that way? Many. Okay, I don't know if there was an E in there. There is now. All right. More than one of these can be okay. Can you figure out which ones? Which ones aren't going to work? Yeah, anything with a square, because it's not doing any bouncing, right? So this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, and this isn't going to work. Maybe only one of them does work. Because this one has a -x, an x, and a -x. If I multiplied all that together, I get what? -x cubed. That's okay, right? They both... Oh, yeah, this would be plus x cubed. Thank you. Negative times a negative sometimes is a positive. Positive x cubed, and this one would give you a -x cubed. So which is the right end behavior? Yes, a positive x cubed would come from the bottom. So this is the only one that has a right zeros and the right end behavior. All right, you guys can figure out that one. You think you got this box question or you need help? You think you got the box? Excellent. The volume is just, how long would this be right here, guys? If it was 15 and we took off an x and an x. Minus 2x. And going this way, it used to be 60, but we took off an x in each corner, so we have minus 2x. And how deep is the box if we fold it all up? Oh, that's the worst box ever. It would be x, right? So there's your volume expression, and then you just need to graph it and see when it hits 450. All right? All right. I'm going to be done, and you can work on whatever you want to work on finishing up right now.